What's up, guys? This is Brave, and I'm back with another review of Growing Up Hip Hop Atlanta. This is season 4, episode 7, and let's go ahead and talk about it. So we actually start this episode off right where we left off, with Deb talking to Brat and her entourage about what went wrong between the two ladies. So at first they're just talking over each other and no one's really getting their point across until they finally realize that this isn't going anywhere. So Deb is like, listen, I did come in there with an attitude. I was wrong for that. But at the same time, how about we do this? You work with your people that you want to work with, and I'll work with the underdogs. Because as we know, Deb believes in the underdog succeeding. So we'll see, I guess, at the end of this season, who comes up with the best tracks. Alright, so next we have a scene with Bow Wow and Pimpin'. They're in the studio. Pimpin', he's like texting Diamond. He's trying to figure out what's going on with her, what she's doing, and she's hanging out with some people. And of course, Pimpin' is like, well, it better not be no other guys there. As we know, both of these people are insecure in their relationship. Pimpin' is insecure about other guys, and Diamond is insecure about other women. So at the same time that this is happening, Pimpin' actually ends up walking out the room. Ayana ends up walking in. So Bow Wow and Ayana, they basically talk about how Bow Wow is working on this album. And of course, he's like, yeah, I'm about to list all these women who I done been with and all this stuff. And Ayana is like, listen, if I was one of these women that you're talking about, I would probably punch you in the face because no one wants to be, referenced to in a song, especially if you're someone's ex. Like, it's not like they're together and this is like some love song. It's not. Let's not play like it is. So, he talks about how he's going to mention Angela and Black China and Keisha Cole. And she's like, what about Erica Mena and Sierra? The people who we know he dated Sierra, and he was actually engaged to Erica Mena, but he's like, nope, neither one of them are getting a song on this project. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. So then they end up talking about how he doesn't want to do the album with Deb or the songs with Deb because he wants to focus on his own project. And I'm like, yeah, the project that's never going to come out. I mean, it's not like we want to listen to a Bow Wow. So you know what? Do what's best for you. So Pimpin' finally comes back into the room and he basically lies to Diamond and is like, there's no other women in the studio right now. Keep in mind, Ayana is sitting right there. And he gets off the phone with her, and Ayana is like, see, this is why I don't date guys. I date women. One thing about her leaving is that Bow Wow feels like Pimpin' isn't focused because he needs him to focus on, really producing this album. And then we get the playback of how Bow Wow's manager is basically like, you need to find another producer. And I'm like, I don't even think it's more so the drama of Diamond and Pimpin'. It's just that, like, maybe you should, work with other producers so that way you can get another sound. But we'll see if Bow Wow even does anything with these little songs that he's been saying he's working on. Next, we see JD and Shania. So basically, JD, he is trying to help out the community and get people registered to vote, as well as educate people on how to vote, why they should vote, what other candidates you should try to vote for. Because when you really think about it, when it comes to like voting, most people know to vote for the president, maybe the governor and mayor, but they don't really vote for like the councilman and like all these other positions. So he ends up meeting with, what is her name? Pinky? Yeah, I believe her name is Pinky. She has the restaurant, The Slutty Vegan. I will say I have never had food from her restaurant because I don't, live in Atlanta. But I will say that she has some seasoning called Slut Dust. It's fire. Like, seriously, put that on some fries. So good. But anyways, back to the point of this. they have a discussion of how, they can get the young people involved and wanting to go out and vote. And Shania is very excited to, be a part of that. And I'm like, great, this gives this girl something to do. Because honestly, she has nothing to do with the show as far as like what we see from her. So we next get a scene of Brat going to see Bow Wow and Pimpin'. So she goes into the studio. First of all, she like, why y'all ain't got no mask on? And Bow Wow's like, well, we get tested or whatever. As we know, Brat ain't going nowhere without a mask on because she's not playing with the C-19. So they just basically talk about how she spoke with Deb, and Bow Wow's like, well, why didn't you bring me to the meeting? Because why would you show up? You said you're not working on the project. What do you need to come to a meeting for if you already decided that you're not going to work on it? That defeats the purpose. Also, I find it interesting that Bow Wow is such a follower. Like, oh, you have to wait for Brat to decide what she's going to do, then maybe you'll think about it, or maybe y'all need to have a partnership and y'all can all go together. Like, dude, you won't even tell Miss Deb to her face, hey, I'm deciding not to work on your project because I'm going to focus on my album. Like, how hard is that to do? But anyways, so they sit up there and talk about how, Brat can work with who she wants to work with. And as we already know, she doesn't want to work with Johnny. I don't know how many times Brat has had to let us know that she has a problem with Johnny, because I am definitely over that. Like, we get it. You don't like her. You don't have to bring it up anymore. Pimpin', he feels like, Bow Wow and Brat are already to like this status that he has not reached. So he's still thinking that maybe he should really try to work on the project. And I feel like he's saying work on the project as in work with Bow Wow and Brat, but also see if he can work with some of the underdogs, just because people don't really know of him like that. Like Deb said, I didn't even know that he was an artist. And when you really think about it, them franchise boys ain't had a hit since like 2006. So yeah, nobody really knows of Pimpin' like that. So Bow Wow decides to play Brat some of the tracks from this little album that he's doing. Why he do that, I don't know. But he's like, yeah, play this track or whatever. And come to find out, the track is about Black China. And Brat is like, no, this is not a good look. It's not going to get you pretty much anywhere. And why are you like mentioning the women's names? And he's like, don't mention all of their names, but she's like, well, you just mentioned Black China. And then he talking about because she messed around with the Prince of Hip Hop. First of all, who told you that you were the Prince of Hip Hop? Like, I really want to know where he got that idea from. But Brat came back and was like, no, you slept with the whore of hip hop. Because as we know, let's not front, China has been with a lot of people in hip hop. Whatever. So, like I said, she thinks it's a bad idea. So she ends up asking him, like, well, what other women are you talking about? And he's like, Angela and all this stuff. And she's like, I didn't even think that you would mention Angela. I thought you had more respect for her than to like put her in some type of song. Because as we know, this song is not going to be like, oh, let's talk about all the good times. This is Bow Wow. He's probably going to try to say something that's kind of like scandalous. So, and even Brat is like, where's your song about Erica Mena? And, he's like, well, she didn't make the cut. And it's like, you were engaged to her. Really? She didn't mean anything to you? Whatever, Bow Wow. Brat thinks that he needs to go play these songs for JD and get JD's opinion. So we now see Pimpin' and Diamond. They are having lunch and, I guess they're trying to force their relationship down our throats, something that I don't really care to see. I didn't really like anybody's outfit. because this then became a double date with Chevy and Remarkable, and I feel like her outfit was trash, Diamond's outfit was trash, and Diamond's hair was terrible. So Pippin and Diamond, they kind of talk about how they both have been through bad management and all this stuff, and they just want the deal with Deb to go right. Like, they want all the paperwork to be right, and they want everything to make sense for them. Now, when it comes to Remarkable, she wants things to, she really wants to work with everybody, but also she wants all the paperwork to be right as well. But then she brings up the fact of how, like, she feels like she got played last season when they were doing that boot camp and they wanted her to audition. And it's like, girl, we're not about to try to change the narrative. You were definitely feeling entitled. You feel like because you were Eazy-E's daughter, that things should just be handed to you. Like, let's not play those games. Those ladies do not know you from a can of paint. They were not just going to be like, okay, Remarkable, we're going to go ahead and just speed her up to one-on-one time. They don't know you like that. Relax. So then she goes on to talk about how she is no longer having sex with Chevy because she wants him to marry her. They have been together for 10 years, and now she decided that she wants to withhold sex from him. And I'm like, girl, what was you doing year 6, year 7, year 3, year 8, year 9? Like, what were you doing all these years before besides hanging out with him and being his ride or die or whatever? Like, shouldn't you have been having these conversations with him a long time ago about marriage? But whatever, girl. So we next have a scene of, actually, it's like a quick little scene of Chevy and Remarkable, and it looks like they're in their house, and she's going on and on about how, she wants to be married, how she wants a ring, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, girl, you gonna be waiting. If you already been with him for 10 years and he ain't trying to marry you, girl, you gonna be waiting. All right, so now we have Brat going to talk to JD. Oh, wait, actually, let me say it correctly. It's Brat and Judy. Because now I feel like every time we see Brat, she has to be with Judy. They are like officially a package deal. So anyway, she goes and sees JD. He ends up giving her a pair of sneakers that she really did like. I think she asked about Shania just to see what she was up to. And he lets her know that, Shania's going to be helping him get the youth involved in voting. So then she's like, well, have you talked to Bao? And he's like, nah. He said, yeah, I talk to him like every day. So then she's like, well, have you heard his new stuff? He's like, nah, he ain't played it for me. Keep in mind, y'all, Bow Wow has not played anything new for JD in I don't know how long, just because he knows that JD calls him out when his music is trash. So she's like, well, listen, all the songs that he's doing are about all the different girls he's been with, and, it's not a good look. And she's like, it's going to look crazy to, like, the streets and all this stuff. And I'm like, first of all, what streets? This is Bow Wow that we're talking about. It's not like we're talking about, like, Meek Mill or, some, like, hard-hitting Rick Ross or, some hard-hitting rapper. Like, we're talking about little Bow Wow. I just don't know the way you move so fast across the flow. So JD is like, well, you know what? From a marketing perspective, like, this is what's going to get people talking. So if he wants people to, talk about it, this is the way for him to go. I think that may be his plan. So Brat is basically saying that he don't have to do this, but he's like, well, what do you do on your show? Y'all talk about messy things like this. Like, this is something that y'all will probably talk about on the show. And I just feel like Brat thinks so much more of Bow Wow. Like, she thinks that he is stooping low to try to talk about him and all these women, and he doesn't have to do that. Like, she's like, you're better than that as a rapper. But I don't think that Bow Wow realizes that. Like, I think that because his career did not pan out how he probably expected it to, he's like, well, let me grasp for straws and let me try to, make people talk about me. Let me be on people's mind and in their conversation. And honestly, I don't know, maybe this will help him in some type of way. I don't see it helping at all. I feel like there may be some lawsuits if he says something that's too scandalous, but we'll see if these songs ever see the light of day. Okay, so we finally get to BT little birthday party or whatever with the paintball shooting. First of all, Bow Wow's not participating because according to him, he's gotten shot in the hand with one of those and he doesn't want to participate. Okay, cool. So everybody else is kind of showing up and Shania is there with her boyfriend. Like, it looked like they were ready to, have fun that day. And once Bow Wow mentioned how Ayana was coming, she was like, all right, we're going to go ahead and leave. Bye. We got other stuff to do. I felt bad for her boyfriend because he looked like he wanted to have some fun running around shooting paintballs at people. But basically in her confessional, she's like, she don't want to see Ayana. She not about to be ambushed. And I'm like, first of all, nobody's even thinking about you, Shania. Nobody cares about your little beef that you technically created because you're the one who said something that was out of line. You didn't apologize for it. You don't see anything wrong with what you said. And it honestly makes me not like you. And I really didn't like Shania at one point, but the fact that she doesn't see what she said was wrong and is not willing to apologize, yeah, that rubbed me the wrong way. So she dips out. Next thing you know, Remarkable, she ready to go. She's been ready to, shoot these paintballs. Out of nowhere, Bow Wow basically tells BT that they're leaving because he's like, man, it's raining or whatever. I think it was like thundering and lightning. And he's like, no, it's time to go. It's time to go. We go get some strippers, man, and blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, they leave. And it's like, BT, I need for you to have a mind of your own. Like, I get it. Bow Wow is the one who has the money in this friendship. But, like, if it's your birthday and you know that you have the rest of the cast coming to this, why would you leave? It's super whack that you decided to leave and not even run around and shoot the paintballs. Like, that was stupid. So at this point, everybody finally gets there and Remarkable is already being extra. Like, she's so hyped. I don't know what happened with her, but yeah, I need for her to tone it down a little bit. So before they even start up, Ayana shows up, and even the way she was dressed, I'm like, clearly she's not about to play. And honestly, I don't even know why she was wearing that outfit because, like, it was cold. It looked like it was, like, cold outside. It looked like it was really gloomy, and I know she had to have been cold. And also, it's just like, they're about to go paintball shooting. Like, I wouldn't have worn that outfit there, but whatever. I thought that Amy was going to participate because she didn't look too dressed up, but she didn't either. So they just kind of sat there, to the side of them and, what's her name, Guhh. So the rest of the cast, they go out there, they shoot their paintballs, whatever. Remarkable is hyped because her team won. And she was being super extra with the hypeness. Ayana was clearly getting annoyed. At one point, okay, I'm going to try to give Remarkable the benefit of the doubt on this. Okay, so at one point, she, takes the helmet thing off or whatever, and her hair was, pulled back in, a low ponytail, but I feel like between the weather and and wearing that helmet or whatever, she probably realized that her ponytail probably looked a mess. So when she took her hair down, though, her hair was poofy. So you can tell that, because of the weather, her hair was starting to, poof back up. So she poured some water on her hair. And, I don't know who it was, but somebody was like, girl, you trying to take a bath outside? And she's like, no, I'm not. I think that she was trying to pour water on her hair so that it can kind of calm down the poofiness. So that way she can kind of like use her hand to like slick her hair back a little bit. I guess that's what she was trying to do. That's my assumption. I'm not going to try to say she put her hair back so she can prepare to fight Ayana or anything. So she goes and gives Buku a hug or whatever, but she gave her a hug like as if she was about to leave. But then she ends up like, oh, well, no, I just want to have a conversation with Ayana. Ayana don't want to have a conversation with you, girl. Just go somewhere. Because at this point, they're going back and forth because Remarkable was like, well, when are we going to have this conversation? It's already been a year. And Ayana's like, nope, I don't want to have this conversation with you. Now, for me, I feel like it would have been better if they would have just had this conversation today and they could have squashed this little beef that they have, because their beef is really not that deep. It's not even important. Like, they literally got into it over Brandon. He's not even a cast member anymore. Like, y'all can go ahead and hang this little beef up. But Ayana is very stubborn, and she's right. Once she don't like you, she don't like you. They're going back and forth. They're like right by each other, and next thing you know, Remarkable said something about fighting, and that just kind of set it off and escalated the situation, because now Ayana is ready to fight, and I'm like, this too much for them to be arguing about nothing. Like, find something else to talk about. So the episode kind of goes off with both of these ladies arguing with each other. And that was pretty much growing up hip hop. Let me know what y'all thought about this episode, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye, guys.